Hello, good morning or good evening whenever you are watching this. I hope you are doing well. My name is Catherine, and today I am going to be talking about some exciting new releases. We are in basically the last month of the year. I was going to film and post this video at the beginning of November, but alas, time got away from me and it is almost December, which is actually crazy. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about some books that already came out in November that maybe you missed, and some new releases coming out in December, the last month of the year, 2023. We're at the end, y'all. That's wild. I'm going to be going up by release date, so the genres are all going to be mixed up together, but you can assume that 99% of these are romance and the other 1% are fantasy, if not like fantasy romance, you know? So starting with November 7th. November 7th was definitely a huge release date. First, we had Hunt on Dark Waters by Katee Robert. This is part of Katee Robert's new series, which involves pirates. This particular one follows a witch who falls through a portal and ends up with a pirate crew. It sounds chaotic, it sounds fun. Everything I've heard was that it's really, really good. And you can't really go wrong with Katee Robert, honestly, so definitely stoked to read that one. Next, probably the biggest release on the 7th was Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. The store that I work at held a midnight release party, which was so chaotic, but also a lot of fun. I hadn't really experienced a midnight release party since, I'm pretty sure, Twilight. I don't think there was any for like the Hunger Games, besides the like Hunger Games movies. Definitely went to a Breaking Dawn one for sure. Iron Flame is the sequel to Fourth Wing, which is a book that absolutely blew up on TikTok. Follows Violet, who is training to become a dragon rider, and there's like a lot of political intrigue involved. It's a really fun fantasy with some romance in it. I say it's one of those types of like fantasy romances that's like a good starter, a good jumping off point. A Power Unbound by Freya Marske is the third and final book. Yeah, third and final book in the Last Binding series. The first one started out with A Marvelous Light. I love this series so much. I recently read the second one, and I read the first one back like last year, and it was like one of my favorite books of the year. This series involves mysteries, really unique magic systems, secret societies, and of course queer romances. I fell in love with this series. I cannot wait to pick up the third book. Bookshops and Bone Dust by Travis Baldier. This is the prequel to Legends and Lattes, which really like introduced the world to cozy fantasy. I know cozy fantasy has been a thing for a while, but I feel like this was definitely one that like put it on the map for a lot of newer readers. Since it's a prequel, this involves Viv, who is still a mercenary at this point. She is injured and recuperating in a bookshop, which I think is the best place to recuperate and heal. One Night in Heartswood by Emma Danny. This is a historical romance. Follows Raph, who has to track down his sister's suitor, who has like left her at the altar, kind of. And of course, in a turn of events, the two of them end up falling for each other. Vengeance of the Pirate Queen by Tricia Levenseller. This one is involved in the Daughter of the Pirate Queen like expanded universe. It's a YA fantasy that I really enjoyed a couple years ago when I read it. I think it was like 2018, 2019 when I first read the first book. This one follows Zoraida, who works for Alosa, who is the character from the original like trilogy, duology. How many books were in that series? She is sent on a rescue mission with Kieran, and of course the two of them don't get along. We love a little, not necessarily enemies to lovers, but rivals to lovers, hate to like, you know. Classic. Finally, on November 7th, we had Gorgeous Gruesome Faces. This is by Linda Cheng. It's a YA horror, which is not normally my thing at all, but I kind of am obsessed with the cover. It is about teen K-pop idols, and it's sapphic. So it definitely sounds interesting. Horror is not normally my genre, but I'm kind of obsessed with the cover, so I had to give it a shout out. We did have a book come out on November 10th, Her Princess at Midnight by Erica Ridley. It is a Cinderella retelling. It's a historical romance novella, so super short and sweet. And it asks the question, what if Cinderella fell for the prince's sister? November 13th was another short release day. We had I'm Engaged to the Mothman by Paige Lavoie. This is the sequel to I'm in Love with the Mothman, I believe is the first one, and it's, you know, great monster romance. It follows our main character from the first one, who is a like burnt out influencer who somehow gets engaged to Mothman. She is transported to the like Fae realm, and she has to impress the royal court, aka his like family and stuff. Also on the 13th, we had A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic by Jay Penner, another cozy fantasy. This one involves a baking competition, as all cozy fantasies should. November 14th, we had quite a few come out. First being Plot Twist by Erin LaRosa. This is about a romance writer who has never actually been in love. So in order to like try and find inspiration for her books, she tries to stage a second chance romance by, of course, reuniting with her exes, which is it's not a good idea. In order to go through with this plan, she enlists the help of her landlord, who is a former teen heartthrob and also an anonymous online crafter. Of course, there is a friends with benefits situation that ends up getting arranged. I'm very excited to read it. I have it like sitting on my Kindle waiting for me to pick it up, and I will, I promise. Do Your Worst by Rosie Danan. This one involves an occult expert and a disgraced archaeologist. They have to work together, and it also somehow involves a Scottish castle that may or may not be haunted. Emphasis on the may. From what it sounds like, it does involve some magical realism elements, which I absolutely love. I love just kind of the hint of magic, similar to like Ashley Poston's books. Calamity by Constance Fay is a sci-fi romance, which I haven't read too many of, but I do enjoy them. It gives found family, it gives Firefly, which is like one of my favorite shows. And it involves some reluctant allies. What more could you ask for? Temple of Fortuna by Elodie Harper. This is the third and final book in the Wolf Den trilogy. All of the books have been leading up to the eruption of Mount Vesuvius in Pompeii. From what I understand, it's now, it's time. It's happening. November 28th, haha, we finally caught up. There's a couple that I'm really excited about. First is A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Howley. I absolutely love the first book. It is very, very cheesy, fun, rom-com, paranormal vibes. This involves the legendary demon Astoreth, something like that. It shows up on Kaleidia, shows up on her doorstep with memory loss and has to enlist her help. Again, some reluctant ally type vibes involved in this one. For Never and Always by Helen Greer. This one involves Levi, who has returned to his small hometown, and back to the inn that he has half inherited. And he is determined to win back his other half, Hannah. It also seems like it's going to be filled with Taylor Swift references. Finally, the much anticipated Gwen and Art Are Not in Love by Lex Croucher. It's already been out in the UK for like ever, it seems, but now it's finally here in the US. Thank goodness. It's a YA that follows King Arthur's descendants. So this isn't about King Arthur and all them. It is about their next in line. And it is about Gwen and Art, who are betrothed, but their interests lie elsewhere. Gwen with a beautiful lady knight, and Art with Gwen's brother. So again, super fun, very queer, sounds like a good time. December 5th is going to be a big day. First, we have Medusa by Jessie Burton. This is a retelling of Medusa. I love mythology retelling, so I'm interested to see what this story has to say, what the author does with this particular story. I feel like Medusa is definitely a pretty popular retelling, and I'm always loving to see how people take the story and twist it to make it their own. A River of Golden Bones by A.K. Mulford is a Sleeping Beauty retelling. It's gonna be the first in a trilogy, which we love to see, and it involves werewolves. A.K. Mulford does really interesting, diverse stories, so I'm excited to start this new series of hers. Second Chances in Newport Stephen by T.J. Alexander. It is a Christmas romance, which I love, and it is about a trans man who returns back to his hometown and reunites with a high school ex. I think this is going to be really fun, give some Hallmark Channel vibes, but might get a little bit emotional too, just from the looks of things. This Spells Love by Katie Robb. This is a friends to lovers rom-com about Gemma who casts a spell to forget about her ex, but it backfires and causes her best friend to forget about her. The only way to reverse the spell is to get him to kiss her. Technically Yours by Denise Williams. I love everything that Denise Williams puts out. It's a second chance workplace romance, which is fun. 5 years ago, Pearl broke Court's heart, and now they have to work together at this nonprofit that teaches kids to code. Knowing Denise Williams, this book is probably gonna make me cry. The Fake Mate by Lana Ferguson. I am so excited for this one. I like The Nanny well enough. I had some qualms with it, but it was fine. But this one, it's about two wolf shifters that decide to fake mate. And it is a workplace romance between a cardiologist and an ER doctor. So layers upon layers. Finally, we have A Gentleman's Gambit by Evie Dunmore. This is the fourth, and I believe it's the final series of the League of Extraordinary Women books. It is about a bookish suffragette who is forced to play host to her father's newest colleague, who's secretly trying to steal back artifacts from, I'm pretty sure, the British Museum and take them back to his homeland. Love to see it. It's giving maybe a little heist vibes. I'm getting two different bits of information of when this book comes out, but it's either, I'm pretty sure it's December 7th, unless it's something weird where it comes out in the UK December 7th and the US December 19th. I'm pretty sure it's December 7th, and that is Heartstopper Volume 5, the second to last volume in the Heartstopper series. I'm pretty sure you can read, I think, the entire series on Webtoon now. I can't remember if Alice Oseman has put all of what's going to be volume 6 out yet. Finally, on December 26th, we have On the Plus Side by Jenny L. Howe. It's about a plus size woman who has always felt so much more comfortable blending in rather than standing out, but she gets nominated by her friends for a reality makeover show similar to Queer Eye. She ends up befriending the grumpy cameraman who helps her through everything, and of course she feels most comfortable with him. Romance ensues. Finally, last but not least, is Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which is another book that took BookTok, the internet by storm. It's a YA fantasy historical with some dark academia type vibes. And it's a rivals to lovers between two young journalists who have to work together during a war of the gods. There you go. In case you missed some books, we had a ton that came out in November, and there is still plenty more coming out in December. Let me know what book you are most anticipating. Personally, for me, I am just very excited to get my hands on some Heartstopper. Thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, go ahead and drop a little sparkle emoji down below for, new releases, sparkly. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit subscribe and turn on the bell icon so you get notified every single time I post. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, and until next time, Bye.